Greetings from Mountain Outset Missionary Baptist Church. My name is Jimmy Dale. I'm the pastor here, and I hope that you are having a blessed day. I have a word for you today, and that comes from the parable of the sower. In Matthew 13, Jesus uses several parables talking about the kingdom of heaven and what it's like. Now, what he's saying here is that this is how God is working in our world, and this is what it's, or in other words, it's an explanation of the way things are. And so anyway, in this particular parable, the Son of Man, who is the sower, is broadcasting the seed. The seed is the good news of the kingdom of heaven. In other words, that God has loved us and that He has provided for us. Now, looking back, we know now that His provision is, the sending of His Son. To die upon the cross on behalf of our sin. And so that's the good message today, that God has provided for our sin. And our reception of that good message calls upon us to respond in obedient faith. And what that means is us recognizing that we're sinners and in need of God's grace, which God has provided. And so that's the good news. Now we have a responsibility to respond to that, and so that's in the parable there. The seed that grows is the seed that responds, and is not distracted by the things of this world. And so the question that comes to my mind now, as I read that story or read that parable, is. Because if you remember, there are four groups of seed. There's a seed that's snatched away. There's the two groups of seed that is overly concerned with its context. It's troubled or it's distracted. And so which seed grouping are we in? Are you in? In other words, the seed that germinates but does not grow is the seed that's overly concerned with the things of this world. And so my challenge, and I think the challenge that we face is, or the question we need to ask ourselves is, are we overly concerned with the things of this world? Because that's how the seed in the parable, the seed that germinates but does not grow, is the seed that's distracted, drawn away, overwhelmed by the things of this world. And so what I'm saying is, what I believe the parable, what Jesus is teaching us in this parable, that if you're not growing in the Lord, take a look at the way that you're looking at this life, and are you overly concerned, overly drawn to the things of this world? Because what Jesus is saying to us is that this life is but a temporary life. It's temporal in nature. We're born, we live, and then we die. But then there's the eternal. There is eternity. And this is what he's driving home with his disciples. To not be so overly concerned with the affairs of this life, but to be more concerned with what happens after this life on this earth. That is something we've got to grasp. The nature of our lives, especially today, we've become so secular in our thinking, so worldly in our thinking, that we rarely think about what God has done, what God wants, what He has said. And that's our problem. We just don't think about heavenly things. And see, that's a problem with the two seed that is the seed grouping that's choked, or the seed grouping that is overwhelmed with the troubles of this life. They're so earthly focused that the gospel does not take root within them. Which seed grouping are you in? I hope that as you respond to the gospel message in faith, that you will continue to grow in that message. I hope that you have a blessed day.